Good evening, everybody. It's a Monday and it's Raya Hari Kedua. I would like to say Selamat Hari Raya to all my audience today. It's another episode of Shine at Night. It is what episode is it today? Episode 13. And today we'll be discussing about developing self-confidence in kids. So if you're a parent, it is a very good episode to join us. It will be a 1 hour episode as I have two guests today. So I will introduce you to the first guest. She is Dr. Choy Su-Ling. We will hear a little bit more about Dr. Choy in a bit. And the other guest that I have today is Mr. Johan.
Hi.
Hi. All right, Dr. Choy. Dr. Choy is actually... Dr. Choy, give us a wave, Dr. Choy.
Hi.
Dr. Choy is actually the founder of Altus Academy, which she founded in July 2018. And Altus Academy serves the needs of children with specific learning disabilities. All right. And Johan, together with his wife, Cherry, they have founded Johan Speaking Academy since 2014 was it, Johan?
Yes,
2014, August 2014. And as the name suggests, it is a school for public speaking for kids. So Dr. Choy, would you mind sharing with us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, sure. So basically, I started this center, Altus Academy, because I first discovered my son was dyslexic when he was about 6 class, and then I sent in for intervention and all that, of course, but eventually I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I took up a postgraduate course and started teaching him myself. So this approach is called the Orton Gillingham approach, which is specially designed for dyslexic children. But of course, it can also teach children that are not dyslexic. So I have taught him for more than a year plus, and he was able to, from the stage where he was just reading Cat and Bat at about 8 years old plus, when he was 9, he was able to catch up with peer level, right? So with that kind of success story, I was quite confident that I'm able to help other children as well, and therefore I started this center to extend that help to more people.
I see. How old is your son right now?
9 plus, going 10.
Right. Okay. How about yourself, Johan? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello everyone. Hello audience. Okay, we started this Johan Speaking Academy, myself and my wife, in August 2014. We are located at Taman Tun, Dr. Ismail in Kuala Lumpur. And actually, prior to that, I actually owned a social media company focusing on Facebook marketing. And I was actually invited to speak on big stages like 200, 300 packs almost every month. And it was a disaster actually. The first few speaking was really disaster, really bad. I even got scolded by the organizer. And then I was, I won't mention any, but it was actually a learning curve. And I was thinking like, why actually no one actually teaches public speaking in school, So like when I got that opportunity, I said yes to it, of course. But when I go on stage to speak, it is like my actual practice and my actual event, So I was thinking, hey, why there's a gap where nobody actually teach public speaking at school? That was also one of the reasons why we started.
I see. So,
but of course, that company we closed down for whatever reason. I mean, not me and my wife, with another partner, so we actually closed down the company.
Then only Johan Speaking Academy came about.
Correct. Yeah.
I see. And Dr. Choy, where is your academy?
We are located at Mount Kiara. Mount Kiara.
Quite near to each other then.
Yeah.
And Mount Kiara, not so far.
I think 15 minutes with the Penchala, the Kerinci, Penchala link.
Yeah, it's quite nearby to each other. Okay, so actually, go ahead.
So it doesn't really matter because if everything is online, you can be anywhere, not just in or in Mount Kiara.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, so for everyone who's watching us tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. Kindly give us a like, say hello, at least let us know that you're here. And if you don't mind, click on share, organize a host party, a watch party for us. It will be really awesome if we can, get more parents to watch us tonight. Because tonight's episode, we will be talking about developing self-confidence in kids. And there is a reason why I've invited Dr. Choy and Johan tonight. It's because they are both in their own professional career right now. They are helping kids to with a certain skill or proficiency that can enhance a child's confidence. And I think following what we've started in the episode on Wednesday and Friday, where we spoke about how play is important for children, and on Friday we spoke about how it is important for parents to encourage children's talents in children. So this is like a three-part kind of thing where I was thinking, Dr. Choi and Johan can elaborate on this importance, elaborate it to a further point. Yeah. So let's start with Dr. Choi's opinion. Dr. Choi, how do you encourage children to be more confident?
Well, basically, if you're just talking about general broad view,
Broad view.
positive feedback and reinforcement is very important because at a very young age, children's um, uh, feelings or emotions are quite fragile. So um, if you constantly put them down or say things that are negative, they tend to feel, they have a sense of low self-esteem, and they feel like, oh, everything I do is wrong and so forth. So positive reinforcement is very important, especially at the early stage.
Mhm. And how about you, Johan? Just a broad view. How do we encourage self-confidence?
Like what Dr. Choi said, I truly agree because words of encouragement is very important. So like even in our classes, it's always positive feedback. You can see me, I will always high five, yay, whatever they speak. Oh, well, this teacher is like a bit crazy or whatever they say. I will say, yeah, good job, high five. So this is the thing that actually motivate them to go the next step further and further. I mean, take baby
Right.
steps to actually gain the confidence. So
So
positive
it's
feedback and also and cheering them like we are the cheerleader for them.
right. So they respond well to adults giving them high five.
Hey, what some high
Yeah,
five, some
yeah.
teacher fist bump, not high five.
Fist bump,
No,
right?
I feel
Yeah.
they even say
Correct.
they even teach me, fist bump, not high five only.
Yeah,
But now
that's the
maybe
thing,
because
right?
of because maybe now the virus we cannot high five. We need to do like then because
Yeah.
we can't high five already now.
Okay, Johan. Actually, before at the behind the scene just now, we were talking about what is your story that actually brought you to do what you're doing? In the sense that I remember you told me a story that you are also a public speaker from your school days.
Yes, I actually studied in Damansara Jaya,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course we shifted to Kepong.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at Sekolah Rendah Kepong Baru at the age of 11, standard 5. And then because I'm the new student, so every year there's this public speaking contest, storytelling. So every year the teacher will choose one kid from the class to actually represent the class. So we have
Mm-hmm.
Anggrek, Pakawali, Cempaka, Dahlia, and Mawar. I can
You
still
can
remember,
still can remember.
all those flowers. So I'm in Dahlia. So and then the teacher said, okay, this year who is going to represent the class? So everyone very smart because they are actually the older students. Everyone will look away, and I don't know what is happening. She said, okay, Johan, you are the person. So I suddenly have to represent the class to compete with the 5 other classes.
Okay.
And it was like my first experience. And I remember I chose the story, which is the Sang Kancil and the Buaya.
Okay.
I don't know whether you can remember the story. So the Sang Kancil
I don't know
actually,
if the kids nowadays do they learn this in school?
I'm not too sure. So the Sang Kancil actually asked the Buaya to line up, right? So then
Yeah,
in the pretext of counting, and then the Sang Kancil jump on the Buaya, that kind of thing. So
to
I
get
remember that
across.
story. I presented with vocal variety, body language, and all these things. And I unintentionally, I don't know what happened. I actually won and became the champion among the five participants lah. So that was how I got the champion as a kid. But then secondary school, I mean up to until secondary school, there's no stage time. We call this the stage time, you know. A stage time where there's a performance where a kid can go on stage to be speaking on stage. So there is actually no stage time provided by school, except these 5 kids. First is the Ketua Pengawas.
Okay.
Second is the best student, and the 3 are the debaters. So if you are these 5, you have this stage time to go on stage to speak at school. But if you're not inside these 5, then too bad you don't have this stage time. So that is where our intention of doing this is to give stage time for all our students. So whoever comes in, every child will have to go on stage to speak, either at the shopping mall or in the theme park or in the playland. So we created that each child that comes in will have a chance to actually speak on stage. So after that 12 years old winning, I actually do not have any stage time thereafter. You know, there's no more stage time for me because in our school last time, we don't really practice this public speaking kind of thing. That's actually not a main essential or necessity in school.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were selected to represent your class, right, standard 5, and then eventually going on to win the contest, right? How did you feel as an 11-year-old child? How did you feel?
After I won, I thought that's the end of story, right? And then my teacher was very proud, you know, my form teacher, you know, very proud to say, okay, she actually requested other form teachers to allow me to go to each classes to speak thereafter.
To speak on what?
The same story. The same story. The same story.
To motivate other students.
Yeah, because you know the contest was held on a weekend. So it was among parents who watched, but the kids, the others, same standard 5 kids, they did not actually watch that contest. So they, Johan, now you have to go to Anggrek and present that story again. Huh? Again? And then Bakawali to do again. And then Cempaka and then Mawa. So it was crazy, but the best thing was it was a branding lah. I could say a branding, and that suddenly because I'm a new student, so a lot of girls at the time suddenly knew this name Johan. Yeah.
Right.
So in a way, they know me, but I don't know them.
Even better. Okay. That leads me to the next question. It's for Dr. Choy actually. Dr. Choy, do you have any statistics to share with us, right, with regards to what are the effects or how is it important that children have self-confidence?
Okay, we're talking about self-confidence today in terms of language. So one is spoken, which Johan will cover, and then I will talk about more on the reading ability. So before I go on to the numbers, I just want to explain that if a child is not able to read, and we don't really have very accurate numbers, you know, in Malaysia, if a child is not able to read, you know, by the time they reach like 5 or 6 years old, they will personally feel, and not to say they are young or anything, but even at that age, they will already feel that, oh, something is not right, and I'm not able to do, you know, something simple that other kids can do. You know, so when they go to school, they will actually feel a sense of dread. On one part, I go to school because I can play with my friends. But when class starts and teacher asks me to read, you know, maybe a simple sight word like the or like, that's the time where they feel a sense of dread. You know, so that's how it feels like, you know, in preschool. And this gets worse as they progress to 7 years old, like standard 1. Yeah, because by 7 years old, they would already have, you know, be able to read at least a simple book quite easily, right? And I have kids, you know, coming to us at year 1 or year 2 that are still learning ABC, or they are still reading like cat or bat, you know, very simple 3-letter words. So you can imagine, you know, if the teacher calls them to read something, they'll be like, don't call me, you know, that's
right.
and that will manifest into avoidance behavior. So when they have avoidance behavior, is because they're afraid of reading in front of the class, and the behavior might be misinterpreted as, or that boy or that girl is a troublemaker, or they're just trying to be naughty and they're making noise and so forth. But it's actually based out of the fear, right? So and if they go to school every single day, facing that kind of defeat, day after day, lesson after lesson, eventually they will lose their self-confidence. The opposite of self-confidence is low self-esteem. Okay, and they begin to feel that, um, uh, I have very little ability to learn, or I have very little uh, ability to be able to catch up with my peers. Okay, in and not just in reading, but it will cover everything else in as well. So if they go to sports as well, they will feel that, oh, I'm if I'm not going to win, I'm not going to take part. That sort of feeling. So that's the kind of self-defeating kind of feeling. So to illustrate how badly they actually feel, we can actually show that screen, that slide.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, your slide is up. Oh,
Okay.
hold on. Okay. Can you move your slide? It's a black screen right now.
Oh, okay.
Try moving your slide.
Uh,
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we go for the presenter's view.
okay. Okay, can you see it now?
Perfect.
All right. So basically, although they feel like they want to go to school, feelings about school is about like 100. The perceived learning capability is like 5.2. Okay, so even if this child, his IQ level is the same as his peer, is 100 or 101 or maybe 98. Okay, exactly the same as his peer, but because he feels that the perceived ability to learn is very, very low. um, Whenever he tries to learn something, he will say, oh, I think maybe I can't remember this, or I think I wouldn't be able to get this. That kind of negative self-talk. So so that kind of lack of self-confidence will affect the learning. So self-regard as learner is also very low. Preparedness for learning is like 17.7. Confidence in learning is 9.3. Okay, so the
Okay.
rest are not so important, but these few areas, I just want to highlight how low it is in terms of their confidence in themselves in learning, when they do not have that ability to read, right? So the next slide would be, so for children, right, it's important that from 0 to 9 years old, they acquire the fluency to read, and this is the stage that we call learn to read stage. So they acquire the basic decoding skills. The best is of course phonics, and then they acquire sight words. They should read a lot or be read to, and so forth. And then by the time, by 8 years old, end of 8 years old, before they start year three, they should be able to read fluently. The reason being is that from 9 years old and above, they will reach the next stage, which is read to learn. So at this stage, the academic material that is given in school, it's quite high level, I would say. So if the child is still learning to read and having to cope with um, reading to learn at the same time, then that child is going to have a very, very tough time. So statistically, I think in Malaysia, I don't have the exact numbers, but if they still continue to not be able to read at the peer level, by the time they reach Form 3, you will see a lot of children dropping out from school. So, and that's where you see a lot of, all these social issues and things like that,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So these are just a few slides that I wanted to show.
Okay, Dr. Choy, before you put this down, can you go back to the, yes, this slide? Can you just enlarge that again?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Audience, if you are joining us today, if you are looking at the chart that Dr. Choy is sharing, and if you have more questions, sorry, Dr. Choy, the slide before this.
Oh,
If you
okay.
have more questions regarding this, or if you're, anything related to you personally that you want to ask Dr. Choi, please leave your questions in the comment box. Yeah, I think this is a very interesting thing to discuss or to understand. Perceived learning capability. So, if the child is facing low self-confidence, it will affect them in so many angles or aspects in their classroom behavior, in their social behavior, and I guess it's quite worrying when Dr. Choi, in this, there's a traffic light system you've put there. Perceived learning capability, it dropped into the red zone. Preparedness for learning, it's dropped to the red zone as well. Confidence in learning, also in the red zone. Wow, this is, I'm seeing this actually for the second time, but I'm just studying it for the first time. This is quite a scary incident or scary phenomenon. Should it affect our beloved children, right? Okay, all right, okay. I just want to say hello to all the audience who have stopped by to say hi to us. Hi Sharon, hi Diane, hi Maggie, hi Anna, Anna Aoyang, hi Dr. Timothy Law, Yani, hello. Thanks for watching us tonight, yeah? Okay, Dr. Choi, I'll put down the presentation now and I'll bring us back to the screen. Thanks so much for sharing on that. Johan, just a question for you. After what Dr. Choi has presented, do you, I'm sure there are a lot of students that come to your academy with somewhat of a lower self-esteem, trying to, the parents are bringing them to your academy to build them up. Do you see this a lot in children?
So before I answer your question, actually a prerequisite to join our classes, because we start from 7 and above initially, now we move it lower to 5 to 7. So the prerequisite to actually join our classes is the ability to read. So they must join Dr. Choi's class first, then only can come to because we actually focus very much on public speaking. So in terms of speaking on stage, like the tonality, the voice, the body language, how you actually engage the audience, how to move on stage. And if the kid do not know how to start to read, so whatever script that we give to them, it is actually no use, I would say. So it is a prerequisite for them to be able to read first, then only they come to our class.
Right.
So that is sorry,
no, sorry, go ahead.
So that means they have to go to Dr. Choi first, or they have to be able to read first, then only they can come to our class. So now on the question of you saying, Geraldine, just now that on to build the confidence.
Yeah.
Now public speaking is considered there are few studies. Some say the number one here among humans. Some say number two. Some say number three. But it's actually the top 5 here among people to actually stand on stage to speak in front of audience. And
hold on, Johan, your line is breaking up. Just give it a moment. Just give it a moment. Okay, hello. Try again. Yeah, try again.
So their statistics shows that public speaking is the top 5 fear, top 5 among people. So some people rather die than actually to be called upon to speak on stage. Yeah,
that's severe.
I mean, yeah, and if a kid can actually do that at a young age, then when they can remember this for life, it is actually inside them. So whenever I see a success story of all my students being able to stand on stage like KL Convention Center, Mid Valley, IPC Shopping Mall, Sunway Lagoon, Sunagara, and they actually do that, they are very, very happy and that they can actually remember that incident in their mind. So that they carry the experience throughout their life. Right. So we have to build one by one. Yeah, we still have to build them. Yeah.
So that means it builds a self-confident adult.
In adults too, in adults too. Not only applicable for kids, even for adults too, yes.
No, I mean like if they start it from kids, and then they
Yes,
remember this experience for life, it also brings them to be a self-confident adult.
yes, yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So the same question I wanted to ask Dr. Choy after I've asked Johan. So Dr. Choy, do you see a lot of kids with low self-confidence coming to your center?
Well, because currently we are accepting children with learning problems. So by default, most of them, I would say 95% of those who come in, they already have low self-confidence because they have a problem with reading, right? And they're already behind their peers. So there's only maybe a small percentage who are very confident because their parents put them in sport maybe at a very early age, and or maybe music or something else, and they are able to excel in another area other than the academics, right? At least they're able to feel good about themselves in at least one other area that is not in school, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, those who come to our center, they do generally have low self-confidence. Yep.
Okay. All right.
And
Before.
also talking about that
Yeah.
question,
Right.
I actually believe that the the fun element, the fun element has to be there. I mean, kids that become sometimes they don't even know what is participating. They don't even know if you take away that fear in their mind. I don't even mention the word fear or shy in my class at all. Actually, it's actually a no word. I tell all my teachers you cannot say the word shy in your class. So actually the kids don't know about this. They don't even know there's like a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
Whereas the parents are very afraid about it, but the kids actually don't know because they've never actually performed the
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah.
We as a teacher or parents, if we believe in them and we give them a topic they are very close to, they love. Example, if you say, oh, who here loves Avengers? So if the boy raised the hand, and if you pick
Right.
the boy to speak about Avengers, I can tell you actually there's no problem at all. Yeah,
Right.
so the belief, the person who actually educating the kids have to believe in them that they can do it. That is already half the battle won. And if you make it fun and interactive, then actually there's not a big problem to get them on stage actually.
Right. Right. Right.
Mhm.
That's interesting. That's interesting to
Yeah.
note. It is the topic. Then you're right about the fear actually or probably coming from the parents, like all kinds of phobia, right? Psychologists will tell you that
Yeah.
it's probably relayed to you by your parents. Let's say your mom is
Mhm.
afraid of rat, right? When the rat crosses, your mom screams, then you observe this from a young age, then somehow it instills fear in you.
Mm.
And fear is actually a secondary human emotion. We are not born with fear.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. um, I have a question. Sometimes parents, for whatever reason, maybe they're busy at work, maybe they're not so close or communicate well with the children. How do you, as parents, identify or detect low self confidence in your child? In order to get them help, right? Maybe we need to identify. We need to be able to see that this child needs some help. So how do you detect low self-confidence? Or if the child is having a lot of negative self-talk and things like that? Dr. Choi?
Is that first or I start?
Dr.
Okay.
Choi.
So basically, some of the signs can be quite obvious. The child, you may sense that there's a lot of negativity coming out from that child. Okay, that's one. And another one is fear of participating in anything, like whatever that is. Okay, whether you go to a birthday party, you just play a simple game with other children. You don't even want to do that. Okay. Um, you go to school and they ask you to volunteer something, you don't want to do that. So the fear of participating in anything whatsoever, like even though it's a very even if it's a fun activity, you lose or you win also never mind one, but they are still afraid. So these are some of the signs where you already sort of feel that the child has a little bit of self-confidence issue. So that's where you can start to investigate what exactly is the cause of that, and then take appropriate action.
Okay, all right. Johan, you want to chime in?
There are actually signs like you can see. Like if a kid come into my class for the first time, sometimes the body posture, and after like 10-15 minutes, I speak to them. They are very quiet, and then some they don't even want to speak at all. Actually, there are signs. The signs, SIGNS are signs that you can see. There is actually something that we need to investigate, like what Dr. Choy said. So there was once, I just share with you a story. There was once in my workshop, it's a 1.5 day workshop. The kid on the first day, no problem. He actually can speak very well. On the second day, which is the presentation in front of their parents, right? The parents have to come and see. He actually refused to speak during the practice session before the parents come. He refused to speak, So I asked him, hey, why? Yesterday we were all good, right? And what happened? Oh, because today my mommy is not coming. Only my daddy is coming.
Uh-huh.
And do you expect both of them to come? Yes, they are both supposed to come. But then they actually quarreled at home yesterday. You see, I'm not saying that all I'm blaming to parents. So parents also play a role. So in the end, actually, when the parents came together, they actually one sat in front, one sat at the end of the hall, But in the end, he actually spoke. So that's like one sign. And then second thing also, my teenage class, suddenly the one boy, he became very quiet. Initially, he was not like that. Then I found out he was actually bullied at school. He was bullied at school because he went to a new school, So he was bullied at school. So these are the things that the only really way to find out is actually I become friends with them. And when they actually tell me, the kids actually tell me a lot of secrets. I know a lot of family secrets, The kids actually really tell me, yeah. So
It's
I
good,
actually
to have
know
a
a lot of
trustworthy adults. Yeah. It's good for the kid. Yeah.
So I actually become friends with them where they open up. And I'm lucky to have my wife together. So some kids actually tell a lot of stories to my wife and some to us. So actually we really know behind the reason. And that is where we have to play a part to actually investigate and like peeling the onion slowly one by one to find the root cause of a problem of the child. Not only in terms of confidence, whether they can study or whatever, it's all actually linked to their environment, whether at school or family and maybe grandparents or whatever. So we actually have to find out and investigate.
Yeah. Okay. But Dr. Choi, how do you differentiate low self-confidence versus being shy?
Being shy.
They display similar, they're quite similar if you look at the child.
It's a little bit difficult to differentiate, I think, because one is just a character, and one is how they actually feel about themselves. So you won't know until you actually talk to them and find out a little bit more, right? So at just a glimpse or whatever, it's difficult to tell. So like for me, after I've taught the child, for several classes, then I would know exactly or whether that child is actually just a shy child or he or she is has low self-confidence. Right. So we need time to get to know that child before we can actually differentiate, whether it's just a personality thing or it's, he's just have low self-confidence.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's bring this discussion to what you actually do. In terms of Dr. Choi, you actually help kids to learn how to read. So can you share a little bit about, okay, let's start. At what age is the right age to instill this habit or to encourage them to have this habit?
Well, this whole topic about reading, right, is not just from the point you introduce them to ABC, but it's from the point where you actually start talking to them and start reading to them, even from birth.
Okay,
All right.
even before birth.
Yeah.
Right.
From birth, So because there is this the science of reading, there are many things that make a fluent reader, and learning the sounds and your ABCs is just one of them. Okay, the other components are vocabulary. Uh, Another component is comprehension, uh, understanding rhyme, and so forth. So all these things are built up, from birth. So I would say that, from 0 years old until 5 years old, you are already starting to develop that reading ability to read fluently process, right? So don't underestimate, talking to your child or introducing them to new words or vocabulary as just something that you do with babies, but it will eventually lead to a better reader at the later stage.
Okay. Some kids can actually start reading around 4 years old, I heard, right?
Some kids are reading even at 3 years old.
So,
Yeah, but for me, I feel that I mean, of course, a lot of Asian moms a bit more kanchiong lah, right? So in the Western world, they encourage more play and things like that. Maybe until 5 years old only, then they start proper reading instruction. Um, Asian parents tend to start them earlier, maybe 3 or 4 years old. Okay, there's right or wrong. Okay, it depends on whether the child is able or not able to, right? Because at the early stage, it's more important that the child does a lot of play, multisensory activities, visual perception, motor skills, and things like that to build up all the neural connectivity in the brain. So the more neurons are connected, the faster they will learn at a later stage. So if you do lay the foundation very well, so by the time they reach 4 or 5, you don't have to be afraid that they will not catch up with the reading, unless of course they have uh, legitimate learning disability. Then of course, then they will have a delayed process in learning. But otherwise, by 5 years old, they should be able to pick up learning relatively quickly lah, I would say.
okay, right. And Johan, you mentioned that the kids should at least learn how to read first before they come to you, to your academy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So what happens at your academy?
So a kid will come into the class. So we have a short term, medium term, and long term program. That is for physical class. I'm saying. I mean, prior to this MCO. So like that's a checkpoint for them. So in between, example, just say the 10-week program. So at the week 5, we actually bring the parents, and together all of us actually go outdoor, and the child will have to speak at the outdoor event. So at the 5th week or the 6th week, we'll go to places like Sunda Lagoon or Zoo Negara or Playland. So they will be brand ambassadors representing that brand. Example is Sunda Lagoon. That means they are representing Sunda Lagoon and speak about the animals and the rights in Sunda Lagoon. So yeah, we believe in a real life experience. And thereafter, at the 10th week and then the 11th week, their graduation, we'll bring them to shopping malls to actually speak. Now, there's two distinction. During the brand ambassador, the 5th week or 6th week, they're actually speaking in front of a video camera. So yeah, we teach them to speak online, speaking in front of a video camera, because there's a video camera brand ambassador. And then at the finale, they are standing at the shopping mall, which is a large audience that is public speaking. So there's two elements there: speak on stage and also speak online is inside the element of our teaching. Yeah.
Right. And how about you, Dr. Choy? And how about you, Dr. Choy? How do you, what's your program like?
For the kids with special needs, normally we would go for a one-to-one class. Okay, so in a one-to-one class, they feel safer. Okay, they are not afraid that even if there's one other kid in my class, they will feel that I'm competing with that other person, or I'm being judged that that other person is doing better than me. So in a one-to-one class is a very safe environment. It's just the teacher and the child, and then we before we start any class, we will do an assessment first, and with the assessment, we will know exactly where is the starting point, of that child, and we will customize a lesson plan or tutorial plan, which is just for that child. So based on that level and the ability, then we will build up his or her learning reading ability from there, right? Then after 1 year, we will do like another benchmark to see what is the before and after, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So within the lesson itself, it's about 45 minutes, but it's very compact. So we will cover, things from handwriting to teaching the sounds, the individual sounds, to reading, simple words, teaching them phonic awareness, binding skills, how to decode the word, and then we also teach them how to write short sentences. And then at a higher stage, then we will go on to reading whole paragraphs and whole books. We look at fluency of reading. We look at comprehension, and then the last stage will be, of course, the written expression.
Right,
How well
right.
they, yeah,
And these are in English classes, huh?
yes, English classes.
Right.
We do have the group classes, but the group classes we tend to uh, allocate those with the typical child. That means they do not have a learning ability disability.
Yes.
So that is between 3 to 5 children in one class, and we teach them phonics, and they are better able to cope in a small group environment for the normal child, because we can focus, give better attention to each one of them instead of a class of 20 or so, right? But for a special needs child, definitely we will start off one-to-one. And the way we teach the lesson, we have to be very careful to scaffold, and to prompt them so that they are able to achieve success at every lesson, right? So if they're able to, if you give something that is too difficult, they will feel failure, all right? Then their confidence will drop again. So that management of the level, or you have to know when to press the accelerator and when to start it, the
Yeah.
brake. So that is a skill that the teacher must. So the scaffolding must be there, and some kids also cannot take error correction. If they spell something wrong, you have to be very careful in the way you correct them.
Right,
Because if you tell them they have more than two or three mistakes, or they make more than 2 or 3 mistakes, then they can withdraw straight away. Like, I'm not going to continue the class anymore, that sort of thing. So you have to manage the feelings and the expectation, and how much they can achieve success in every class. So
Mm.
there's no rushing, and there's no you can't rush the child. You can be as fast as you can, as the child can, or if you need to, you can be as slow as the child has to be, right?
Right.
So it's basically very individualized.
Right. Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
In your center, in your academy, since you are helping those with specific learning disabilities, can I just ask you, Dr. Choi, what type of learning disabilities have you experienced in your classroom?
Um, Most of them have dyslexia. Dyslexia is difficulty with reading. And then some of them have dysgraphia, which is difficulty with writing. Some and some of the kids do not necessarily just have one learning problem or one behavior problem. It can be two or more. That's called comorbidity. So some of them have dyslexia plus ADHD. Some of them may have Asperger plus dysgraphia, or they are slow learner, okay, plus dyslexia. So the more combination of problems that they have, the more time it takes to teach them,
Yeah.
right?
Understood.
So, yeah, so the parents have to also understand that we cannot just teach them to read in 3 months. They can't just stop and fly like that. But it's a long-term process, and we have to build it up based on that child's pace, right?
Right. Interesting. Okay. Guys, we've got a question from Shahrul Akmar. How confidence and self-esteem is being measured? Which Johan or Dr. Choi would like to take this question? How confidence and self-esteem is measured?
I'll take the question.
Sure.
So okay, I don't really measure a confidence. Okay, it's actually how to say. I mean, my students have been following me. The longest one is about 3 years, right? 3 years. So he started off with slow baby steps, small stages, but very frequent, almost like every 3 months. We'll go to a shopping mall to speak, go to a playland to speak, go to a zoo, Nagara, or theme park to speak. So as you can see, they grow. The script that they are presenting becomes a bit more difficult. So it's actually slowly steps, and until an instance where at the end we were actually invited by Kunia Insurance for an event. So actually it's a third party event, because normally all these events are my own events, though we also have 500-600 people, but we are actually and invited 9 of our students actually stood on this HGH Convention Center in front of 500 packs. One
Mhm.
became an MC, and eight share their dream job. So these small steps, the parents are actually so happy, so happy, because their parents also might not have the chance to actually speak in front of such large audience. So I actually measured them by just a tick on the stage time. They have been to this stage and this stage and this stage and this stage. So I think that boy have been to 20 over stages together with me. I think average most of my students about at least 5 stage time together with us. So that is
Okay.
how I actually measure that. And I know where I can push them a bit further. So I give the script a bit harder, like what Dr. Choy also said. As we progress, we can see each child learning curve is different. But the more they actually do it, then the confidence they actually get. Just like this live streaming, Darren, the more you do it, the better you become, and more familiar. I mean, tools also
No,
will
no,
change.
no.
You have to adapt. Huh?
No, no, no. I still get
Yeah.
nervous. Yeah, I
Yeah,
still
yes,
prepare the same way. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
correct. But
yeah.
when you be, I mean, as the audience grow from 5 people watching, 20, 30, 100, so we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
better if we have the correct practice. Yeah. So that's actually
Mm.
how I measure confidence in my students. Yeah. Bringing them
Mm.
to each different stage time and pushing the boundary a bit tougher step by step.
Yeah. So that is your way of evaluating their
Yeah.
readiness.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And Dr. Choi, would you like to chime in?
Um, I would say, I mean, there are some standardized tests, British standardized tests that do a certain amount of measure, but it doesn't like direct. It's not a direct measurement like self-confidence, but it's always a point or a score that the parent, when you interview the parent, gives that perception of where that child is. Or in the case of that example that I showed you just now, that slide is a
Mm-hmm.
score that the child gives himself. So that's a self-perception score.
Okay.
So, but the most evident is, of course, in the behavioral changes, as what Johan has described. So
Yep.
that would be, the expression of confidence when the child has improved.
Okay.
So the number
Um,
is just a number, but if the expression of confidence is there, then I think the child is on the right track.
yeah. It's strange. Just sharing my own experience when I was a child. Relatively, I feel that I'm quite a confident child. But the moment you put me on stage, be it for choir with a group of people for choir, or myself presenting a story or just to read something, I get very nervous. But Dr. Choi mentioned something quite interesting where my confidence level grew a lot because I played sports. I played a lot of team sports. So it's very interesting. I think in different activity, confidence level actually differs. It can't be that one child is confident in all areas of opportunities, all areas of life. Yeah. So that's quite an interesting angle that both of you brought up today. Okay. All right. I would usually typically like to end the show by asking each of you to give tips about what a parent can do to encourage their child, to nurture their child, or to instill some sort of self-confidence. Dr. Choi, maybe you can start with from coming from your angle, your few tips to enhance self-confidence in children.
Well, the first one, of course, is to encourage them to become to be an early reader. Okay, once they have confidence in their ability in school, they would be a bit more confident in other areas as well. The second is to give them exposure in as many areas as possible, not just academics. It can be art, can be music and sports and so forth. So so if the child is not good in one thing, you know, he or she can discover um, satisfaction or achievement in another area. So because life is not just academics, you can't just focus on study, 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 but you have to look at many things. So the wider the exposure, the ability to achieve even, you know, small little things in any other area, those would be very beneficial in the long term.
Okay, all right. And we can start building the kids' self-confidence from which age?
Um,
I'm not a parent, so I asked a very strange question. I'm not a parent because that's why I asked a strange question. Yeah, when is too soon? When is I don't know. Is there such thing?
uh,
Yeah,
as soon as possible, yeah, as soon as
yeah.
possible.
Because you can encourage them even when they start to crawl, right? You
Definitely.
can encourage them, like Johan was saying, give them a lot of praises, verbal
Yeah.
verbal encouragement, right? Okay, Johan, how about you? What's your tips?
I would like the parents to participate together with the child. So even like professional speakers or even adult speakers, this exercise they can actually do it at home. So if you have a kid, both of you do it together rather than your child. So what is that? That means you every day you only read aloud for 1 minute, standing up,
Read
not
aloud
sitting
for
down like
1 minute. Okay,
yes.
okay,
So you can take anything, even a book, a magazine, or a newspaper. So example, the father or the mother will just turn this and then okay, point to this, and then the kid will actually stand up and read aloud for 1 minute. Throw your
okay,
voice up,
okay,
not silently. So throw your voice up. Then
okay,
the next minute, then the child said, "Okay, dad, now is your turn." So then he will point to the dad, and then the dad will have to stand up and also speak out loud.
okay,
So they do this family bonding activity is actually very powerful.
okay. So is the kid
Yeah. So
allowed to give negative feedback to the dad?
no, just read aloud only. Just read. Of course, he
Oh,
can
there's
do
no
that. I mean, he
feedback.
can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
feedback session.
So even like for speakers, like normally we have a presentation to do, to say adult presentation. So when we see our slides, we practice, but we practice very silently. You know, we never throw our voice out. You know, or we have written
Right,
a
yeah.
script tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're
We
going to
practice in
present
our
at the
head
press.
only.
Got a press conference. We practice. You know, we do not actually stand up and actually practice out and throw our voice and do the whole script. Very rarely, I can say, very rarely people actually do that. So if you throw your voice out, you can actually hear yourself. You know, your projection. And because the word when you're reading silently inside and you're throwing out is actually different. It may sound different. You know, it may sound different. Okay, so that's why this exercise is very powerful. Every day, do 1 minute enough. Do 1 minute.
Okay.
1 minute a day is a very good exercise where a parent and that means the child and the parent can do together. One
So what
minute
does
a
that
day, each
achieve?
one.
It
Huh?
achieves self-confidence. It builds
Yeah,
self-confidence.
yes. You stand up and then
Mm.
you can see a role model also for a child. It's not the dad asks you, okay, you do every day ask you to do 1 minute, but then that you're not doing. So if both do together, it's actually very powerful. So the child
Okay.
also can see the parent as a role model and they learn together. So this process we are doing it together. So it's also an encouragement.
Right.
So
I do
any
like it.
storybook, any yeah.
I do like it when in Sekolah Rendah, right, teacher will ask us to stand up and read one paragraph. I get a little bit disappointed when teacher says only read one ayat, one sentence. It's too short. So when I get to read one whole paragraph, right, I get very happy. I don't know, I'm such a nerd. I do enjoy when I was
Yeah.
growing up, I do enjoy activities like this in the classroom setting. Oh, okay.
So have to do it
Sharul,
standing up. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Sharul has another question. I think Dr. Choy can take this question first. Yeah. Are all children born with confidence and high self-esteem? What do you think, Doctor?
Um, are they born with confidence and high self-esteem? I would say a child, if you have more than one child, right, you would know that, your first child is very different from your second child, right? Or if you have twins, you will realize that, twin one is totally different from twin two, even though they are, born at the same time, from, raised in the same environment, and so forth. So one child may have a bit more confidence, one child may have less. Okay, so I won't say, it's yes or no, because it's not a very straightforward answer. Um, because different children have different characteristics, and because they accept learning differently, they would grow and become individuals differently, right? So even, imagine if they're both like a white sheet of paper from the beginning, they will become very different end products at the end of the day, right? So whether they're born with or not, I think there is a certain difference in character that will inevitably shape them to who they are as they grow up.
Interesting. Johan, do you have any input?
My personal point of view, I think all child are a winner. I don't say born with confidence or high self-esteem. They are already a winner. That means being able to be born and into this world, they're already a winner. And children are actually very confident. No? I mean, when they want the food, they will just cry and then the food will be served to them. And when they want something, okay, they want that toy. When they go to the supermarket, when they pass that alley, oh, I want that toy, I want that toy. They will not give up. So of course, maybe the way the way they express is like that. But then, like Dr. Choi said, as they grow, the environment actually suppress them. The environment they grow will suppress them. You cry some more, the gut will come and catch you. Okay, daddy will go away, you stay here alone. So, then, okay, slowly, subconsciously, things are adding. Then when they're at school, they want to speak, teacher, I got, no, quiet. Then, because teacher got maybe 40, 50 packs, they cannot. So, it's actually slowly being...
Molds them. It molds them.
Yeah, the subconsciously say, if I ask a question, I will get scolding, if I talk to them. So then this kind of things, slowly the environment will mold them, and then they have an opinion about themselves and also opinion about things and the environment. So I feel that every child is actually born a winner. Being able to come up to this world is already a winner. But as time goes by, the confidence there, then they will suppress, and then we have to actually bring it up again. That is where the life journey is. The life journey is. So like even like now MCO, initially business owners, I mean, wow, we are very confident. Suddenly MCO comes, ayo, macam mana? So then our confidence, so maybe maybe this is an opportunity instead of a challenge. Then we have to push ourselves up. So these are the things that we go through life. The confidence curve also.
Like
sometimes in our life we are very confident. Then one event you can push our confidence down, and another event can push it up again. So even for child and even we are also building our confidence all the time.
Correct. Finding and rediscovering. Yeah, Maggie is agreeing with you, Johan. All children are winners. It is indeed true. Okay, we are coming to the end of it. I have something to show all of you here. Let me just share the screen. Dr. Choy, I understand that you've got a promotion coming up. There's a program that you have, online parent workshop. Would you like to share a little bit about that program?
Yeah. For the older children, right, we do online tutoring. So we teach them, via the online channels, one-to-one or in a small group. But for parents with children 5 years and below, we understand that it's a little bit difficult. It's a bit challenging to do virtual learning. So what we are doing is that we will teach parents with young children the skills to cultivate early literacy at home. So in that sense, it gives them the time flexibility. It gives them the skill, and you can, if you have more than one child, you can use the same skill with your younger child. So this online parent workshop is specially catered to this category of parents who are time strapped and also having difficulty with virtual learning to be able to teach their child at home. All right. In addition, we will also provide free materials. The parents can make use of them. It's digital format, so they can actually use them or reprint them as and when they need to use it. So yeah, so I would encourage parents with young children to sign up so that they're able to help their children cope better at home, especially at this time.
Wonderful. So for those who are interested, it's perfect for parents with children ages 1 to 3 years old. It's for 1.5 hours. So I will be putting this image onto the comment box later on once this show is over. And if you're interested to sign up, you can email Dr. Choy at info@altusacademy.com. Yeah. All right. It looks very interesting, Dr. Choy. Thank you for sharing this with us. Yeah. Okay, the next one, Johan, why don't you tell us about your program?
Okay, we have been doing online teaching since last year, September, even before the MCO. Even right now, we are doing online classes because we can't operate our center on physical classes. So the online classes was all along last year, September, until right now. This is a very interactive new online program that we are launching called the Malaysia Fantasy Park. So I'll be personally teaching the kids. So the first scene will be there's actually 3 days event, 31st May, 7 June, and 14 June. So the first one will be the Lion King, right? The Lion King. So I believe in application straight away. That means during that 45 minutes Lion King, so Uncle Scar has actually taken over the kingdom. So the kids have to go on a journey with me to actually get back the kingdom from Uncle Scar. So it's not only on public speaking, it's problem solving skills, critical thinking, and also leadership. So example, when I reach to a point, then my background will change. Then I ask kids, should I go into room 1 or room 2? So they will say, room 1, teacher, go into room 1. And why room 1? So they have to actually tell me and speak. Then I'll go into room 1. It's just like a maze. I'm bringing them on a real journey by actually changing and layering my background every 5 to 10 minutes, So they actually do the real application speaking, not just like sitting right now and only listening. So they will play a part in the whole journey. And then second is the Jurassic Park. So I'll be the tour guide bringing them on a journey. And we are attacked by T-Rex, so we have to protect the eggs and dinosaur eggs. So it's going to be very interesting. So they'll be running around and shouting also in front of their computer, of course, right? And then the ninja go, the 4 ninjas. So they'll be fighting the bad guy, the Gamadon bad guy, together with me. So the kids will actually be very interactive. I don't think they have chance to even sit down, so they'll be standing up and also running together with me or shouting or speaking and solving problems together with me. So this is a very interactive virtual game plus speaking, critical thinking, leadership, and also problem solving skills.
Wonderful.
So
okay.
Yes, yeah.
So if you have children between the ages of 7 to 10 years old, this activity is very interesting and it's happening on Sundays. So if your Sunday 1 to 1:40 p.m. you have free time for your kids, this would be a fun thing for your kids to do. Yeah, 3 episodes together. Is that correct, Johan? 3 episodes together, meaning you're signing up for one show or 1 episode or 3 episodes together.
3 together.
Together, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And if you would like to enroll in this, I will also leave Johan's contact details. Yeah, Johan's contact details would be this. I will leave it in the comment page for you to read and connect with him. So this is Johan, kidspublicspeaking@gmail.com. And this is Dr. Choy's info@altusacademy.com. Yeah. Okay, any last words, Dr. Choy? We've come to the end of the show. So fast, we spent 1 hour together already.
Yeah.
Dr. Choy, anything you want to add?
Nothing much. It's just thank you to all the listeners for joining in today. And then I want to wish everyone Selamat Hari Raya. Luckily, my kebaya still can fit after MCO.
It's beautiful. I was telling her it's so beautiful, Kabaya. She looks so lovely.
Yeah. So if you have any other questions, Jerry has left our email address. You can email us, and I will try my best to answer all your questions.
Wonderful. And Johan, how about you? Last words?
I'd like to say thank you for inviting me, Geraldine. Thank you so much. Back to school. We have been working together since last year, right?
Yes.
At events last year. Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and also thank you so much, listeners, for tuning in. So yeah, this MCO is also a learning lesson, a self-reflection, and of course, we are all in this together. I have empathy for everyone. I believe sure we'll come up stronger and a better person.
Yes. Yeah. We adults too need to build self-confidence sometimes.
Yes.
Self-discovery and
Yes.
self-confidence. Okay. I would like to say a special thank you to both my guests. In spite of the public holiday, I asked them to come onto my show, and they didn't even negotiate anything. Can I go on a different day and all that? They just said yes to me. Thank you very much. So Selamat Hari Raya to all the audience listening in. Happy holidays. I guess most of us will be on holiday up till tomorrow, and then on Wednesday is back to work, I guess. Right. Thank you, Dr. Choy. Thank you, Johan, for your knowledge sharing today. I hope that the audience have gained some knowledge, some tips to understand the importance of building self-confidence in children. And I think it's very important that we have future leaders who are self-confident, because when they are self-confident, like Dr. Choy has said, that they can adapt to learning better, they can adapt to socializing better, and that's just good all the way. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for all your questions as well. The next Shine at 9 will happen on Wednesday. Interestingly, this is the first time I do not have a guest yet. So I'll be scrambling to look for a guest for Wednesday session, and let's see who it is. So good night, guys. Thank you, Dr. Choi. Thank you, Johan. Bye.
Okay, Geraldine.
Bye.